We continue to interpret Kevin Kelly's book Excellent Advice for Living. Kelly, renowned for his writing, introduced groundbreaking ideas like the Internet of Things, sharing economy, and the notion of technology as a new form of life. His books not only offer profound thoughts, but also provide a seamless reading experience, making even lengthy content feel effortless. So, let's delve into Kelly's advice on writing, research, and the broader realm of creative expression. Kelly doesn't explicitly state it, but the underlying premise of his advice is that your creative work is a service to others. Whether it's a book for readers, a speech for an audience, or a product for users, the focus should be on meeting their needs. While you may believe you understand those needs better than the users, the core remains catering to their requirements, not just your own preferences. Otherwise, you might as well engage in a conversation with AI. As creators multiply, user expectations rise. Readers today demand content that is concise, straightforward, and directly addresses their concerns. Kelly emphasizes, to be interesting, just tell your own story with uncommon honesty. If you've just witnessed a murder involving a celebrity, you don't need literary sophistication. Just recount the incident honestly. The key is having compelling material. It guarantees attention. This is why some short videos from surveillance cameras attract more viewers than meticulously produced artistic programs. However, personal experiences are limited, and true writers actively seek out material. Readers crave content deeper than celebrity scandals. To produce such content, you must develop the skill of thoughtful reflection, if your material lacks freshness or excitement. This brings us to the crux. How you express yourself matters. Kelly emphasizes that a creator's expertise lies in research, contemplation, and expression. Let's start with research. Modern readers demand substance in your writing. If you're delving into history, aim to present lesser-known historical facts. The value of fresh material outweighs interpretations of existing data. For scientific columns, provide readers with unfamiliar, preferably recent research findings. Without fresh and compelling content, you risk losing your audience's interest. Therefore, creators need to hunt for material like predators. Engaging in conversations is a simple yet effective method. Kelly suggests, every person you meet knows an amazing lot about something you know virtually nothing about. It won't be obvious, and your job is to discover what it is. This aligns with the adage that you can learn something from everyone. Conversing with strangers becomes a treasure hunt. Each person potentially holds valuable insights. Kelly goes further, saying, a superpower worth cultivating is learning from people you don't like. It is called humility. This is the courage to let dumb, stupid, hateful, crazy, mean people teach you something, because despite their character flaws, they each know something you don't. How to engage in conversations? Ensure they go deep. Kelly introduces the 3 times rule in conversation. Rule of 3 in conversation. To get to the real reason, ask a person to go deeper than what they just said. Then again, and then once more. The 3rd time's answer is the one closest to the truth. Kelly also has a trick for greeting people. You'll learn a lot more if you ask people, how are you sleeping? Instead of, how are you doing? Directly seeking advice is another effective method. Kelly advises, if you ask for someone's feedback, you'll get a critic. But if instead you ask for advice, you'll get a partner. This is probably because seeking advice from others is a friendly gesture, and it can even be seen as a compliment. When Obama was a senator, he liked to seek guidance from the elder senators in the Senate. Although we don't know how much wisdom he gained, he certainly acquired many allies. The most fundamental approach is to conduct your own research, but if you can find an expert in the field, it is undoubtedly much more effective than reading papers on your own. Kelly may use the method of directly asking people, because he knows many people. He also has the 7 levels of research rule. You can find out anything if you are willing to go 7 levels. If the first source you ask doesn't know, ask them who you should ask next, and so on down the line. If you are willing to go to the 7th source, you'll almost always get your answer. Kelly's approach might be difficult for ordinary people to use because, most of the time, you may know who has information, but they may not be willing to share. However, the key point here is that your research efforts need to be very diligent. Research involves looking outward, and contemplation involves looking inward. Individuals with low insight, even if you ask them to document the entire process of a major event, they wouldn't know who to focus on. On the other hand, individuals with high insight can discover wonders in seemingly ordinary details. Good things are often found in the details, but the key is knowing where to look. Kelly says, revisioning the ordinary is what art, literature, and comedy do. You can elevate mundane details into magical wonders simply by noticing them. You need to develop the ability to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. How do you practice that? Get hands-on. Kelly suggests, draw to discover what you see. Write to discover what you think. Why hands-on? Because it's your subjective interpretation of reality. Your field of vision is inundated with infinite information, so why choose certain details over others? That's where insight comes in. Every time you create, it's a deliberate choice. Iteration sharpens your perspective. Kelly notes, occasionally your first idea is best, but usually it's the fifth idea. You need to get all the obvious ideas out of the way. Try to surprise yourself. Continuous contemplation is essential to capture the best, unconventional, surprising ideas. Kelly says, expand your mind by thinking with your feet on a walk, or with your hand in a notebook. Think outside your brain. This underlines the seriousness of contemplation. It involves the whole being for maximum impact. Multitasking like thinking, while doing household chores may seem effective, but it's not genuine contemplation. Once a good idea surfaces, document it immediately. Kelly emphasizes, the biggest lie we tell ourselves is, I don't need to write this down. Because I will remember it. The joy of getting a good idea is a privilege for creators, and you want those moments every day. But it's also a painful process. Because you must search, refine, and discard continuously. You have to work relentlessly and iterate, aware that not every creation will be great. Now, with compelling material and thoughtful contemplation, the remaining piece is expression. The term style has become obsolete among contemporary nonfiction writers. While good material and ideas are crucial, effective expression matters. At a minimum, clarity of thought is essential. At a higher level, you must make sure readers remember what you've said. This is where cognitive psychology comes in. Kelly states, people can't remember more than 3 points from a speech. So, whether you're responding to questions or providing information, ensure your key message remains clear and concise. Kelly's formula for effective communication is, to get your message across, follow this formula used by ad writers everywhere. Simplify, 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 then exaggerate. However, don't chase perfection. Kelly notes, separate the processes of creating from improving. You can't write and edit, or sculpt and polish, or make and analyze at the same time. If you do, the editor stops the creator. While you invent, don't select. While you sketch, don't inspect. While you write the first draft, don't reflect. At the start, the creator mind must be unleashed from judgment. This aligns with the common advice from writers. Keep writing and editing separate processes. There's even an English proverb. Write drunk, edit sober. However, don't chase perfection. Kelly notes, as long as an idea stays in your head, it is perfect. But perfect things are never real. Immediately put an idea down into words or in a sketch, or as a cardboard prototype. Now your idea is much closer to reality, because it is imperfect. Kelly emphasizes, superheroes and saints never make art. Only imperfect beings can make art, because art begins in what is broken. Not every creation will be perfect, but within that imperfection lies the potential for greatness. Kelly says, the main reason to produce something every day is that, you must throw away a lot of good work to reach the great stuff. To let it all go easily, you need to be convinced that, there is more where that came from. You get that in steady production. These elements constitute the joys and challenges of being a creator. While creating brings immense pleasure and a sense of accomplishment, the process, as Kelly's insights and personal experiences suggest, is predominantly a painful journey. You must search tirelessly, refine diligently, and discard freely. It requires continuous effort and iteration. It's not a painless endeavor. It's a commitment to excellence, a willingness to explore, and an acceptance of the perpetual cycle of creation. This concludes this section. The next part will delve into the wisdom of living.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.